Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari 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 Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna and welcome to all the devotees online. Thank you very much for your kind presence as we continue associating with Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 3, Chapter 9, verses 1 to 10, Brahma's prayers for creative energy. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurumlitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Bhupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagarjatam Sagana Raghunatham Vitantam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishwakan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Vade Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusate Dev Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubheva Patitanam Pavenebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesa Sunyavadi Pastatadasatavine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Sarva Shastra Piyusha Sarva Vaireka Satpala Sarva Siddhanta Ratnarya Sarva Lokai Triprada Sarva Bhagavata Prana Srimad Bhagavata Prabhu Kalidando Didaritya Shri Krishna Parivartita Ocean of Bhagavatam, O nectar churned from the ocean of all Vedic scriptures, O most prominent translate food of all the Vedas, O you enriched with the jewels of all spiritual philosophical conclusions, O you grant spiritual vision to all the people of the world, O light breath of the Vaishnava devotees, O Lord, you are the sun which has arisen to dispel the darkness of Kali Yuga, you actual Lord Krishna who has returned amongst us. Paramananda Pataya Prema Varshashevayate Sarvada Sarvasevyaya Shri Krishnaya Namastute, O Srimad Bhagavatam. Offer respectful obeisance to you. By reading you want to attain transcendental bliss, for your soul was pure love good upon the reader. You are always to be served by everyone, for you are incarnation of Lord Krishna. Madeka bandhu mat sangye mad guru man mahadana man nishtaraka mad bhagya madananda namastute. O Srimad Bhagavatam, O my only friend, O my companion, O my teacher, my great wealth, O my deliverer, O my good fortune, O my bliss, offer respectful obeisance to you. Asadu sadhu tadainati nichochatara kahanamunchakata chinmam premna rekatiospura. O Srimad Bhagavatam, O giver of saintliness to the unsaintly, O uplifter the very fallen, please do not ever leave me. Please become manifest Mahatma through the company of pure love of Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Janmadhyasya Yatonvayaditaratascharte Swabhigna Swarat Tene Brahma Hedayadi Kavaye Muyanti Yat Suraya Tejo Varimranam Yatha Vinimayo Yatrati Sargo Mrsha Damna Swena Sada Nirastakwakam Satyam Param Dhimahi. O my Lord Shri Krishna, Son of Vasudeva, all pervading person out of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisance to you. I meditate upon Lord Shri Krishna, because he is the absolute truth and the primal cause of all causes of creation, sustenance, and destruction of the manifested universes. He is directly and indirectly conscious of all manifestations and is independent because there is no other cause beyond him. It is he only who first imparted the Vedic knowledge unto the heart of Brahmaji, the original living being. By him, even the great sages and demigods are placed into illusion, as one is bewildered by illusory representation of water seen in fire, land seen on water. Only because of him do the material universes temporarily manifested by the reactions of three modes of nature appear factual, although they are unreal. I therefore meditate upon him. Lord Shri Krishna, who is eternally existing, transcendental abode, which is forever free from illusory representation of material world. I meditate upon him, for he is the absolute truth. Prayana Upayasha Sabya Kala Vismin Yuge Jana Manda Sumanda Mateo Manda Bhagya Padrata. All learned one in this iron age of Kali, many but short lives, a quarrelsome, lazy, misguided, unlucky, and above all, always disturbed. Narayana Maskritya Narachevam Naratam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiret. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisance to the person of God in Narayana, unto Narayana, which is foremost between, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Shiva Vyasa, the author. Savaipum Saparodharmo Yado Bhaktirodokshaj Ahitukiya Pratiyata Yatma Suprasiddhi. Supreme occupation, dharma, for all humanity is that by which men can attain to loving devotional service unto the transcendent Lord. Such devotional service must be unmotivated and uninterrupted to completely satisfy the self. Vasudeva Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita Jana Yatyusa Vairagyam Jnanam Chayadhaitukam. By rendering devotional service unto the person of God, Shri Krishna, one immediately acquires positive knowledge and detachment from the world. Vedanti tattva vidastatvam yat jnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavaniti sabhyate. Learn the transcendentalists who know the absolute truth, all is known with substance paramatma bhagavan. Shru Shru Shoshadanasya Vasudeva Kataruchi Syan Mahatsevaya Vipra Punya Tirtha Nishevanat. O twice born sages, by serving those devotees who are completely free from all by his great service done, by such service one gains affinity for hearing the messages of Vasudeva. Shranutam Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Yaradan Vedanta Stoya Badrani Vidunati Suritsatan. Shri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is Paramatma, supersoul in everyone's heart, and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire from material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee, who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which in themselves virtues when properly heard and chanted. Nastaprasha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttamaslokya Bhakti Bhavati Nashtaki. By regular attendance and class in Bhagavatam and by regular service of pure devotees, all that is troubles to the hearts completely destroyed, and loving service unto the person of Godhead, whose praise transcendental song is established as an irrevocable fact. Etavan Sankhya Yoga Abhyam Saudharmam Parinishtaya Janmalava Parampum Samante Narayana Smriti. The highest perfection of human life, achieved either by complete knowledge of matter and spirit, by practice of mystic powers, or by perfect discharge of occupational duties, to remember the person of the Godhead at the end of life. Akama sarvakama va moksha kama udari ditibrena bhakti yogena yajate purusham param. A person who has broad intelligence, whether he be full of all material desires, without any material desires, or desire and liberation, must by all means worship the supreme whole, the personality of Godhead. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We are continuation about the teachings of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Hare Krishna and welcome back. Any feedback from last week's session anyone has that caught your attention, that you remembered? On the list, it's Hemavati. Hare Krishna, Srimad Bhagavatam 3:822. Srila Prabhupada's purport: the Supreme Lord can be experienced only through the process of devotional service and not by one's personal endeavor in mental speculation. We heard about how Krishna revealed himself to Lord Brahma. So majestic and beautiful description of the most beautiful Lord. Yes, it was a detailed description of the Lord. Lord Brahma got by the mercy of Krishna full revelation and saw the Lord face to face. We also pray to one day get this revelation to see Radha and Krishna through the mercy of the holy name. In the meantime, we endeavor and desire and have patience, engaging devotional service, embracing the Lord's plan and surrender to his plan. And when Krishna is sufficiently pleased, he will give us a revelation. So when the holy name is pleased, the holy name will reveal. Until the holy name is not pleased, then we should not continue with the same approach, because, well, yes, we engage in devotional service, but we need to reevaluate our approach, reevaluate our endeavor, reevaluate our intention, reevaluate our practice. Srila Bhakti Maharaj gave the example of the wedding party. They were trying to cross the river, and it was late in the evening. They got into the boat, and they told the boatman, take us across. We're very tired, we can take rest. And the boatman said, no problem. And the boatman started rowing, and they fell off to sleep. Next morning, they found themselves still at the same place. They asked the boatman, why are we at the same place? Didn't you row whole night? Yes, I've been rowing whole night. So yes, the boatman was rowing whole night. He was chanting the whole night. He was engaging in activity whole night. But the anchor was still there. So it's not a question of just doing the practice, we have to evaluate, how am I doing the practice? With what intention am I doing the practice? Because you can do the practice with the wrong focus, with the wrong intention, or in the wrong way, and thinking that you're doing yourself a favor, thinking that I'm engaging devotional service. And you may go on like that for billions of lifetimes. And then you're wondering, gee, revelation is taking a long time. What's up? Eventually you'll be doubting, maybe this thing doesn't really work. Maybe there is no God. Maybe this is a whole hoax, conspiracy theory. So in order not to get into that rut, into that territory, you need to always evaluate, recalibrate your practice. Am I chanting with attention? Am I serving with attention? Am I hearing the holy name? So in this way, we need to keep reevaluating even the most basic of practices. That way, we now are now assured that because of our efforts, the holy name will see that. And when the holy name sees, even if your external effort is little relative to others, but if it's done with the proper focus, attention, aspiration, practice, etc., the holy name will then take you further. So yes, very important for us. And therefore, Prabhupada constantly in his purports emphasizes these points. Otherwise, yep, we can go on and on and on. Madhachana Siddhi says, how long it takes, one has to wait for the mercy of the Lord. However long it takes, one has to wait for the mercy of the Lord. Madhuri is telling me, Prabhupada said it can take 1 minute. The problem is that 1 minute you don't surrender. In that 1 minute, just like this morning we were hearing Prabhupada making the point of Sanatana Goswami having sores on his body. And he wanted to commit suicide because the Lord was embracing his body. And the Lord next day revealed to him that you want to commit suicide, but this is not your body. You've surrendered. So your body is my body. You can't just do as you will. So if we surrender, but then we decide on our own agenda, well, that's also not going to take 1 minute. Surrender means really, truly surrendering. I'm surrendering and I stay surrendered. That's a very exalted platform to accept Krishna, to accept whatever is favorable, to reject whatever is unfavorable, to completely depend on Krishna, to depend on Krishna's protection, to befriend Krishna. So yes, it can take any amount of time, but ultimately, if we're on the right path and we keep understanding the right thing to do, then we are safe, because then it's only a question of time. Prabhupada, in Act of Instruction, we often quote Prabhupada says, if you're in the process of Krishna consciousness, the process will take you to perfection. But always keep the guardrails. Be careful of offenses. Be careful of inattention. So we always want to keep focused and be on the path and keep at it. Then we are rest assured of success. And sometimes, by Krishna's mercy, the success may come earlier than expected. And that is Krishna's blessing. That's Prabhupada's blessing. Shamananda Prabhu says, verse 24 about the beauty of the Lord and the beauty of the material nature. amazed by the different parts of the Lord's creation, able to relate to some way with what we see and perceive. Know factually that all this coming from the Lord. So look at it in that way, but also think that I may be more attracted to the beauty of the material nature than the Lord himself right now. Should be the other way, should be other way around. So yes, it should be the other way around, but here's the point. You can't imitate that. So, and that's where in Bhagavad Gita also Lord Krishna says, you practice from the level you are at. Don't artificially embrace something that is way beyond one's practice. So we know I want to be attached to Krishna and Krishna only. At the same time, I recognize that I'm more attracted to material beauty. And I know that that material beauty is coming from Krishna. So there is a link, which is wonderful. But at the same time, we have to know that I'm praying to Krishna. I'm begging Krishna. I want to purify myself so that I can become more and more attached to Krishna. So that way, I know where I am. I know where I have to go. Another point in relation to what you mentioned. Do not become depressed and go into a whirlpool of depression. Oh yeah, I'm so fallen, I'm more attracted to Maya and material nature, and I'm supposed to be more Krishna conscious in so many years, and you go into this depression of thinking only of the negative things and where you are and what's not working and why it's not working, and I shouldn't be like that. That is not healthy. We accept I have these faults. This is where I am. Full stop. Now I want to focus on the positive aspect of Krishna consciousness. And that should be my focus. Knowing that I'm here, but my focus is on the positive aspects. Immaterial of whether I'm a drunkard. Immaterial of whether I'm in any level of Maya. That's immaterial. The focus should be on Krishna consciousness and aspects of Krishna consciousness, and slowly become attached to those aspects, and let the process purify us, let the process work, and at the same time we pray. And today we're going to hear Brahma was born on the lotus. He had no clue about his mission. We are born in this material world, also attached to umbilical cord like Brahma. We also born in ignorance and don't know what we meant to do. And Brahma also tried to endeavor on his own to figure out, what should I do? Where is my source? What is my source? We also, on our own, through society, through education, through the upbringing, etc., we also try to do our own thing and say, okay, I'm going to try to do this, I'm going to try to do that. And Brahma was not successful. Similarly, we will never be successful as well. So he came up, and the Lord gave him a clue. Tapa, perform austerity. Started meditating. So we also have clues. In fact, we have more than clues. We have a whole encyclopedia of guidance. By Prabhupada's mercy, we don't just have 2 syllables, tapa. We have tons and tons of instructions, guidance, so much wisdom, so much knowledge about the material world, about the spiritual world, about what not to do, what to do. Ocean of wisdom, no shortage of wisdom, no shortage of guidance. Brahma had 4 heads to process, at least in our universe. And he was inspired by the Lord to now meditate. He meditated for a substantial number of years. We also need to practice devotional service rigidly, seriously, sincerely, diligently, consistently, with perseverance for a fair number of years. And the Lord was pleased, and Brahma was given revelation. When he was given the revelation, he started to pray for service, pray for guidance. So like that also, we constantly have to pray to the Lord. When we're chanting Hare Krishna, we are praying. At the same time, we're glorifying the Lord. And in this way, continue progress. So Brahma's prayers for creative energy. We're going to go through verses 1 to 10. And his prayers are covering a vast array of topics. Brahma is praying, we will gain lessons from his prayers. We will gain lessons from his activity of praying. And we will gain knowledge about the glories of the Lord through his prayers. So text 1. Brahma vacha Gnato simedyak su chirannanudeha bhajam nagnayate bhagavato gatir ityavadyam nanyatvad asti bhagavanna pitanna suddham maya guna vyatikarat Yad Uru Vibhasi. Lord Brahma said, "O my Lord, today, after many, many years of penance, I have come to know about you. Oh, how unfortunate the embodied living entities are that they are unable to know your personality. My Lord, you are the only noble object because there is nothing supreme beyond you. If there is anything supposedly superior to you, it is not the absolute. You exist as the supreme by exhibiting the creative energy of matter." Prabhupada's purport. The highest peak of ignorance of the living entities who are conditioned by material bodies is that they are unaware of the supreme cause of the cosmic manifestation. The highest peak of ignorance. Prabhupada is giving us a clear clue of what it means to be ignorant and what it means to have the highest level of ignorance. Even if externally you are a PhD and a professor and a master at so many things and you know so many things. You may know everything in creation. You may know all the AI models. And you may even know everything the AI knows. But if you do not know the supreme cause of all causes, Ishwara Parama Krishna, if you don't know that personality, then unfortunately, this is the highest peak of ignorance. Now, let's take the statement and ask the question, how many ignorant people are there in this world? If we are to use this statement, it will be astounding. Because people may know, they have concept of God, they have the concept of the Lord, of Father. But if we hear Lord Brahma's prayers, he is now seeing Krishna face to face. Prabhupada was seeing Krishna face to face. The Acharyas were seeing Krishna face to face. They knew Krishna personally, like a person. Not like they is somebody out there. God isn't, man is made in the image of God. So if I got this image, God is God, okay, so he's like two arm, yeah, he's got some form. No. Knowing, aware. Different people have different theories regarding the supreme cause, but none of them are genuine. The only supreme cause is Vishnu. And the intervention and the intervening impediment is the illusory energy of the Lord. The Lord has employed his wonderful material energy in manifesting many wonderful distractions in the material world. And the conditioned souls illusioned by the same energy are thus unable to know the supreme cause. Another powerful statement by Prabhupada. The Lord has employed his wonderful material energy in manifesting many wonderful distractions in the material world. Guess what is this in my hand? Distraction. That's why they call it a cell phone, Madri says, because you're in a prison, you're in a cell. Understand, everything that you see in this material world is a distraction. It's taking you away from knowing and surrendering to Krishna. Now, the pure devotees, they recognize that everything is a distraction. At the same time, the principle of Yukta Vairagya is to employ everything that can be employed in the service of the Lord for the pleasure of the Lord. So, we should not fall prey to the distraction that Maya creates. We should be very diligent and careful to employ everything that Maya gives us, everything that is material nature affords us in the service of Krishna. We need to be able to do that. That way, everything that we use in Krishna's service becomes a helping agent. And what is the objective? What is the purpose? What is the focus? What is the mission of doing that? It's only one mission, is to know and realize our supreme relationship with Krishna in person. It's to know him and to know our relationship with him. This is the only focus, only purpose. Naturally, when we talk about, at least in our line, when we talk about Krishna, we always talk about Radha and Krishna, Shri Krishna. Or you'll see Prabhupada would also, for example, in Bhagavatam, is speaking about the absolute truth. It's absolute truth. So our focus is to realize the absolute truth. Realizing the absolute truth means realizing Radha and Krishna. Realizing Hare Krishna. Not in isolation, not in separation. Okay, but understanding that these are the two personalities that we want to dedicate our life to. So, Prabhupada then continues. The most stalwart scientists and philosophers, therefore, cannot be accepted as wonderful. They only appear wonderful because they are instruments in the hands of the illusory energy of the Lord. Under illusion, the general mass of people deny the existence of the Supreme Lord and accept the foolish products of illusory energy as supreme. So when we deny the existence of Krishna, and this is the greatest illusion. So those who deny the existence of the Supreme, they are called active atheists. Those who accept the Supreme and yet deny his existence are called passive atheists. Somebody is an active atheist. I don't believe in God. To hell with him. Doesn't exist. So he doesn't accept. He lives his life not interested. On the other hand, you may have someone who believes there is God. He believes in Krishna. He accepts there's Krishna. He knows Krishna. But his practice reveals an underlying passive atheism. How? He would do something behind doors that he's not supposed to do. In front of the public, in front of his family, he's well behaved. In front of the deity, he's well behaved. In front of the devotees, he's well behaved. Behind closed doors where nobody is watching, apparently nobody's watching, he's up to nonsense. So that means he knows Krishna, he accepts Krishna, but he thinks behind doors nobody is watching him. That means he's technically saying there's no God. Krishna is not there. To some degree, we all have this. Because remember, we're coming from an atheistic, conditioned lifestyle. Our material conditioning is based on that. A simple example, a pure devotee of the Lord, like Srila Prabhupada, Prahlad Maharaj, Dhruva Maharaj, so many others, they have absolutely no fear because they affirm faith that Krishna is going to protect. Krishna is always there. Krishna is never, going to lose control. He's the supreme. He can do anything. So they have no fear of any danger, and they have no fear of anything coming in future. We, on the other hand, I can speak for myself, we may experience fear in different scenarios, in different situations. Now, that doesn't mean I do not accept that Krishna is the supreme. But in that situation, I have fear, meaning at that point, at that scenario, at that situation, in that scene, at that point in time, my spiritual evolution is not high enough for me to surrender and accept Krishna's supremacy, that he is all powerful, he's in control, he knows everything. And therefore, because that's not there, I feel fear. I feel anxiety. So in that small time frame, I'm really living a life of an atheist. When I get out of that situation, I can reflect back and start contemplating, oh, I didn't chant Krishna's names. I was so fearful. Why am I so fearful? Don't I believe in Krishna? Krishna exists. So in this way, I re-emphasize, I contemplate, and I try to solidify my faith again, more and more. And this cycle continues. And you'll see in some cases, the fear decreases more, less and less and less and less. Eventually, there will be a time where in the most difficult of situations, even coming to the extent of death, is no fear. What to talk about burglary or thief or anything else that may, some natural disaster or whatever may come, it's our way. But I've fully taken shelter of the Supreme, understand the Supreme, accept Krishna, and that way I can continue. There, right. One can know the Supreme Cause, the personality of Godhead, by the causeless mercy of the Lord, which is bestowed upon the Lord's pure devotees like Brahma and those in disciplic succession. So Brahma is acknowledging, I know you because it's by your mercy. Prabhupada writes in many places that if you know Krishna, it's because of Krishna's mercy. If you know God, it's because of Krishna's mercy. By acts of penance only was Lord Brahma able to see the Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, and by realization only could he understand the Lord as he is. Two aspects: penance, endeavor, austerities, devotional service, and then realization, not theory, practical realization. We can know Krishna. So we practice, we try to realize, and we can know Krishna. Brahma was extremely satisfied upon observing the magnificent beauty and opulence of the Lord, and he admitted that nothing can be comparable to him. And one day when we see Krishna, this will be the same observance, this will be the same experience. We will see the beautiful form of Shri Krishna, and we will be mesmerized. Actually, Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur in Madhura Kadambini describes how Krishna revealed himself in stages to all the senses of the devotee and teases the senses, and the devotee becomes, every time he sees what each of his senses, he sees Krishna, he faints in ecstasy because Krishna is so wonderful, so beautiful. As they say, he's out of this world. His beauty is out of the world. He's out of the world. The experience is out of the world. Everything's out of the world, literally and figuratively. Nothing can be comparable to him. This is Prabhupada's gift to the world. When we have this process, when we have Krishna, then nothing is comparable. Only by penance can one appreciate the beauty and opulence of the Lord. And when one is acquainted with that beauty and opulence, he is no longer attracted by any other. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 2:59, Param Drishtva Nivartate. So we need to acquire higher taste. You will not acquire a higher taste if you do not associate with the higher taste. We may come into the process of Krishna consciousness. We may be practicing for many years. But if we are not getting a taste for it, something's wrong. Again, we need to reevaluate and adjust and check, because otherwise we will, it's like you got the gift and you're not taking advantage of the gift. You have a mountain of gold kept in your vault, and yet you have no food on the table. This is the situation. And if we don't take advantage, we may lose the opportunity and then continue again in this material world. life after life after life. So we always want to be alert, and we want to see, am I developing a greater and greater taste? Every single year we need to evaluate. You can evaluate every single month, but at least every single year, evaluate. Am I becoming more Krishna conscious? Am I becoming more attached to Krishna? Am I losing more and more of my attachment to those things that are in this material world, those things that, I like and love, etc.? Are they dropping off? And am I getting a taste for the process of Krishna consciousness, for things related to Krishna? Foolish human beings who do not endeavor to investigate the supreme beauty and opulence of the Lord are hereby condemned by Brahma. It is imperative that every human being try for such knowledge. And if anyone does not do so, his life is spoiled. Anything that is beautiful and opulent in the material sense is enjoyed by those living entities who are like crows. Crows always engage in picking at rejected garbage, whereas the white ducks do not mix with the crows. Rather, they take pleasure in transparent lakes with lotus flowers surrounded by beautiful orchards. Both crows and ducks are undoubtedly birds by birth, but they are not of the same feather. So don't be crows. We need to be ducks. 2. Rupam yad etad avabodha rasadayena shashvani vrittatamasa sadanugrayaha ado grihitam avatara shakte kabijam yanna vipadma pavanad ahamavirasam. The form which I see is eternally freed from material contamination and has advented to show mercy to the devotees as a manifestation of his internal potency, of internal potency. This incarnation is the origin of many other incarnations, and I am born from the lotus flower grown from your navel home. The three deities, Brahma, Vishnu, and Maheshwar, Shiva, the executive heads of the three modes of material nature, passion, goodness, and ignorance, are all generated from Garbhodakasai Vishnu, who is described herein by Brahma. From Kshirodakasai Vishnu, many Vishnu incarnations expand at different ages in duration of the cosmic manifestation. This point is important to catch. From Kshirodakasai Vishnu, many Vishnu incarnations expand at different ages in the duration of cosmic manifestation. So Kshirodakasai Vishnu is the agency from where all other incarnations that come to this material world are expanded from. That's why when and this is also described in the different other Puranas and the Vedas. That's why you'll see, when they make movies, this classical view of how even Krishna is coming from Vishnu. They show Vishnu as the supreme, and all incarnations are coming from Vishnu. They call them Vishnu avatars. So Prabhupada is also validating that, which is true for all expansions coming from Vishnu. And when Lord Krishna also appears, he takes permission also via Vishnu, because Vishnu is like the personality in charge of this creation. Yet he is the source of Vishnu. He is the avatari and not the avatar. They are expended only for the transcendental happiness of pure devotees. The incarnations of Vishnu who appear at different ages and times are never to be compared to the conditioned souls. The Vishnu Tattvas are not to be compared to deities like Brahma and Shiva, nor are they on the same level. Anyone who compares them is called a Pashandi or an infidel. Tamasa mentioned herein is the material nature. And the spiritual nature has a completely separate existence from Tama. Therefore, spiritual nature is called Avaboda Rasa or Avaroda Rasa. Avaroda means that which completely nullifies. In the transcendental, in transcendence, there is no chance of material contact by any means. Brahma is the first living being, and therefore he mentions his birth from the lotus flower generated from the abdomen of Garbhadaksaya Vishnu. Breathe. Nata param param yat bhavata swarupam anandamatram avikalpam aviddhavachvarcha pashyami vishvasrijam ekam avishvam atman bhutendriyatma madasta upashritosmi. O my Lord, I do not see a form superior to your present form of eternal bliss and knowledge. In your impersonal Brahman effulgence in the spiritual sky, there is no occasional change and no deterioration of internal potency. I surrender unto you because, whereas I am proud of my material body and senses, your Lordship is the cause of the cosmic manifestation, and yet you are untouched by matter. Purport. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 1855, Bhaktya Mama Vijanati Yavan Yes Chasmi Tatpataha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead can only be partially known and only by the process of devotional service to the Lord. Now Brahma became aware that the Supreme Lord Krishna has many, many eternal blissful forms of knowledge. He has described such expansions of the Supreme Lord Govinda in his Brahma Samhita 533 as follows. Advaitam achyutam ananim anantarupam Advaitam achyutam anadim anantarupam Pamadyam Puranam Purusham Navayovanam Chave Durlamamadula Mamatma Bhakto Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. I worship Govinda, the primal Lord, who is non-due and infallible. He is the original cause of all causes. Even though he expands in many, many forms, although he is the oldest personality, he is ever youthful, unaffected by old age. The Supreme Personality of Godhead cannot be known by the academic wisdom of the Vedas. One has to approach the devotee of the Lord to understand him. The only way to understand the Lord as he is by devotional service to the Lord or by approaching the devotee of the Lord who always has the Lord in his heart. One time, Srila Prabhupada told the devotees, I have captured Krishna in my heart and I'm giving you to him. Please come, take him. So, Prabhupada has given us the process of devotional service, and Prabhupada also has Krishna to give us Krishna. By devotional perfection, one can understand that the impersonal Brahma Jyoti is only a partial representation of the Supreme Person of Godhead, Lord Krishna, and that the three Purusha expansions in the material creation are his plenary portions. In the spiritual sky of the Brahma Jyoti, there is no change of various kalpas or millenniums, and there are no creative activities in Vaikuntha worlds. The influence of time is conspicuous by its absence. That last statement of Srila Prabhupada, the influence of time is conspicuous by its absence. Meaning, in the spiritual world, especially in Brahma Jyoti, there is no impact of time. You don't see, it's basically consistent. There's no change. There's no variegatedness. In Goloka Vrindavan, there's unlimited variegatedness. There is no influence of time as we know time in this material world. In the material world, time destroys everything. Share one thing in this world, of this world, that time does not destroy. if you take all your opulences, your resources, your body, your youth, your relationships, everything, time takes it away. Now, in the spiritual world, there is absolutely no influence of time like that. Means in the spiritual world, time does not destroy. Yet, time exists. Now, who can tell me, or who can share evidence of the fact that time exists in the spiritual world? Who can share evidence, logic, statements that time exists in the spiritual world? Time exists in Goloka Vrindavan. Krishna is time. Good. Krishna in Bhagavad Gita says, I'm time. So if Krishna is there, time is there. So good. Any others? Any other logical Vedic statements, what you've heard that validates, that confirms that time is there? Time is ticking. Right. Shamananda Prabhu says, we read in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna book, that they go out in the morning to tend the cows and come back in the evening. Good. So Krishna has 8 different divisions of time. Okay. Takes rest, gets ready, goes to the herds the cows, etc. So there's time. There's definitely 8 divisions of time. So time exists. Krishna has lunch, right? So there's lunchtime. He kills demons when is lunchtime, at least in Bhoma Vrindavan. In the spiritual world, there's rumors of killing demons at lunchtime. So yes, there's definitely a concept of time there. In the Rasa dance, Krishna and the gopis have to come back home, right? So they have to go home. It's time, it's evening's late, or it's late, or let's say it's in the morning. They have to go home. So there's a concept of time. Okay, I'll give you a clue. Chapter 15, Bhagavad Gita. Chapter 15, Bhagavad Gita. Krishna gives an analogy of a tree, an upside down banyan tree. And in many purports, Prabhupada describes whatever we see here is a perverted reflection of the spiritual world. So if time is here, it's a perverted reflection of what exists there. That means time exists there in its perfect form. So in that sense also, time exists. The upside down banyan tree, or reflection of the spiritual world in material world. So like that, Kala Shakti, it's one of Krishna's energies, Krishna's potencies. When Mahavishnu glances at the material energy, he glances, and in that glance is the Kala Shakti. Well, if that Kala Shakti is in Krishna, then it has, and Krishna is in the spiritual world, then Kala Shakti is also there. Time is also there. And so in this sense, we know time exists there, but the influence of time, what time does, time is really a servant of Krishna in the spiritual world. Therefore, Prabhupada is making the point, the influence of time is conspicuous by its absence. It's not, the destructive nature of time that we experience here doesn't show there. There it could be day and night instantly at the same time. You could have multiple seasons at the same time. In the spiritual world, it could be day and all of a sudden night, and night and all of a sudden day. You can have day and night at the same time. It's inconceivable in terms of how time is serving Krishna in the spiritual, exactly as per Krishna's desire. Time can even stop. Krishna can do many things. Krishna can contract time. He can expand time. He can do many things with time. So it seems like time doesn't exist just because the influence of time, as we know it, doesn't exist. But it is there. The rays of the transcendental body of the Lord, the unlimited Brahma Jyoti, are undeterred by the influence of material energy. In the material world also, the initial creator is the Lord himself to bring about the creation of Brahma. He brings about the creation of Brahma, who becomes the subsequent creator empowered by the Lord. Four. Tadva idam bhuvana mangala mangalaya dhyane smano darishitam tanupaksha ta upaksha ta upashakamnam tasmei namo bhagavate nuvidema tubhyam yo nadrito narakabhagbil asat prasanghe. This present form, or any transcendental form expanded by the Supreme Person of Godhead, Shri Krishna, is equally auspicious for all the universes. Since you have manifested this eternal form, personal form, by whom your devotees meditate, I therefore offer my respectful obeisance unto you. Those who are destined to be dispatched to the path of hell neglect your personal form because of speculating on material topics. Report. Regarding the personal and impersonal feature of the Supreme Absolute Truth, the personal form exhibited by the Lord in his different plenary expansions are all for the benediction of all the universes. The personal form of the Lord is also worshipped in meditation as Supersoul and Supersoul Paramatma, but the impersonal Brahma Jyoti is not worshipped. Persons who are addicted to the impersonal feature of the Lord, whether in meditation or otherwise, are all pilgrims to hell. Because as stated in Bhagavad Gita 12:35, impersonalists simply waste their time in mundane mental speculation because they are addicted more to false arguments than to the reality. So if you meditate on the impersonal feature, and especially you envious of the supreme form of the Lord, then hell is definitely your destination. If you accept the personal form of the Lord, and then you worship the impersonal feature, then you are called Brahmavad. Then you go to the Brahma Jyoti. The example were the four Kumaras. So the four Kumaras were Brahmavadis. When they were not envious of the form of Krishna. So when they then meditated on the Supreme and his personal form, and they went to see Narayan, and they smelt the tulsi leaf, then they became devotees of the Lord. So this way we can see envy of the supreme form of the Lord is detrimental, is dangerous. Even though you may be meditating, but you will be destined to him. Therefore, the association of impersonalists is condemned herewith by Brahma. All the plenary expansions of the personality of Godhead are equally potent, as confirmed by Brahma Samhita. In the Brahma Samhita 546, Deepa chireva hi dashantaram abhyupetai deepa et vir vartahetu samanadaya dharmayas tat krik eva hi cha vishnu tayadi vibhati govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. The Lord expands himself as the flames of a fire expand one another. Although the original flame, Shri Krishna, is accepted as Govinda, the Supreme Person, all other expansions such as Ram, Nishinga, or Vara, and Vara are as potent as the original Lord. All such expanded forms are transcendental. In the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam, it is made clear that the supreme truth is eternally uncontaminated by material touch. There is no jugglery of words and activities in the transcendental kingdom of the Lord. All the Lord's forms are transcendental, and such manifestations are ever identical. So for us, we should understand and appreciate that all the forms of the Lord are wonderful, beautiful, transcendental. It's not that there are many Krishnas. There's only one Krishna. There's only one Supreme Lord. And he has unlimited forms, but there's still one personality, non-dual. That one personality may appear also in three features: Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. So we glorify all the forms of the Lord. We appreciate all the forms of the Lord. But in our line, our inclination is to the form of Radha and Krishna. Nitai, go Nitai. So this is all, even Lord Nishingadev, Jagannath Balar, Subhadra Maharaj. This is our direction. This is our Ishtadevs. This is how we focus on these personalities. Others may focus their attention on other personalities. That is not wrong. That is for Krishna, according to their relationship. Just like Hanuman focuses on Lord Ram. Dhruva Maharaj focuses on Narayan. Prahlad focuses on Lord Nishingadev. So each devotee has a certain relationship with Krishna. And as their devotion matures, then that relationship becomes more and more prominent. The particular form of the Lord exhibited in a devotee is not mundane, even though the devotee may retain material desires, nor is it manifest under the influence of material energy, as is foolishly considered by impersonalists. Impersonalists who consider transcendental form of the Lord to be a product of material world are surely destined for hell. So these impersonalists Prabhupada is talking about are the Mayavadis. The Mayavadis, they think Krishna's form is Maya. Brahman is the only truth. Brahma Satya Jagat Mithya. Everything that's within this material world, even when Krishna comes in here, he has a material form. So therefore, they destined to hell. 5. Yetu Tvadiya Chara Nambuja Kosha Gandam Jigranti Karna Vivai Shruti Vatanitam Bhaktya Grihita Charana Parayachatesham Na Peshinata Ridayam Buruhat Swapumsam. O my Lord, persons who smell the aroma of your lotus feet, carried by the air of Vedic sound through the holes of the ears, accept your devotional service. For them, you are never separated from the lotus of their hearts. Purport. For the pure devotee of the Lord, there is nothing beyond the lotus feet of the Lord. And the Lord knows that such devotees do not wish anything more than that. If we want to become pure, this is the gold standard. Nothing but the lotus feet of the Lord. Nothing but the pleasure of the Lord. The word "tu" specifically establishes this fact. The Lord also does not wish to be separated from the lotus heart of those pure devotees. That is the transcendental relationship between the pure devotees, devotees and the personality of Godhead. Because the Lord does not wish to separate himself from the heart of such pure devotees, it is understood that they are specifically dearer than the impersonals. The relationship of the pure devotees with the Lord develops because devotional service to the Lord on the authentic basis of Vedic authority. The relationship of the pure devotees with the Lord develops because of devotional service to the Lord on authentic basis of Vedic authority. Such pure devotees are not mundane sentimentalists, but are factually realists because their activities are supported by Vedic authorities who have given oral reception to the facts mentioned in the Vedic literatures. The word paraya is very significant. Paraya is very significant. Para bhakti, or spontaneous love of God, is the basis of an intimate relationship with the Lord. This highest stage of relationship with the Lord can be attained simply by hearing about him, his name, his form, qualities, etc., from authentic sources like Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, recited by pure, unalloyed devotees of the Lord. So the relationship with the pure devotee and the Lord is a very strong bond. And that relationship exists because of devotional service. Impersonalists don't serve Brahman. There is no devotional service. Because there is no devotional service, there is no relationship. With the Supreme Personality of Godhead, there is relationship. And that relationship is very strong. And that relationship matures. And how does it matures? Simply by hearing about his form, name, form, qualities, pastimes. So therefore, if we want to perfect our relationship with the Supreme Lord, if we want revelation of the Supreme Lord, if we want to perfect our devotional service, then we need to hear more and more. We need to hear more and more attentively. The more we do this, the more our relationship builds, the more we get purified, the more it matures, and in this way we can perfect. Simply engaging in practical service may not be sufficiently enough for maturity. Yes, Krishna knows each devotee and may respond and reciprocate with each devotee, but the process is we engaging in practical service to purify our senses. We also engage in devotional service to please Hari Guru and Vaishnavas. But the practical service of hearing the glories of Krishna, this is a must, because this matures, this purifies the heart, but this matures our relationship. The more we know about Krishna, the more we hear about Krishna, then this allows us to go to the highest stage of relationship. 6. Tavad bayam dravinadeyasu rinimitam shoka spriha paribhavo viplulascha tavan mametya sad avagrat atrimulam yavan natenrig nigram abhayam pravrinnitalokam. O my Lord, the people of the world are embarrassed by all material anxieties. They are always afraid. They always try to protect wealth, body, and friends. They are filled with lamentation and unlawful desires and paraphernalia, and they avarice base their undertakings on perishable conceptions of my and mine. As long as they do not take shelter of your safe lotus feet, they are full of such anxiety. So if this is not a perfect analysis of every living entity, I don't know what will be. It's a clear explanation of where we are and what the issue is. One may question, how can one always think of the Lord in regard to his name, fame, quality, etc., if one is embarrassed by thoughts of family affairs? Everyone in the material world is full of thoughts about how to maintain his family, how to protect his wealth, how to keep pace with friends and relatives. Thus, he's always in fear and lamentation, trying to keep up with the status quo. In answer to this question, this verse spoken by Brahma is very appropriate. So hope you're hearing well, listening well. A very practical question. I have to do so many things. My mind is occupied by so many thoughts. Yet, I have to be Krishna conscious. A pure devotee of the Lord never thinks of himself as the proprietor of his home. He surrenders everything unto the supreme control of the Lord, and thus he has no fear for maintaining his family or protecting the interests of his family. To the degree this is accepted, genuinely, to that degree our attitude will align. Again, we cannot artificially embrace this, but at least understand the focus, the future, the vision, the goal, the objective. When you accept Krishna as the proprietor and you simply a servant, there is no fear. When we have sentiments or desires to be proprietors, to be controllers, to be enjoyers, we would experience anxiety. Because of this surrender, he no longer has any attraction for wealth. Even if there's attraction for wealth, it is not for sense it's not for sense enjoyment, but for the service of the Lord. A pure devotee may be attracted to accumulating wealth just as an ordinary man, but the difference is that a devotee acquires money for the service of the Lord, whereas ordinary man acquires money for his sense enjoyment. So how do I know where do I fit on this scale? Because to the degree, let's say from 0 to 100, wherever I fit, to that degree, I'm going to experience anxiety. So where am I sitting on the scale? You can get an idea of where you're on the scale by how you use the wealth you acquire. If you use the wealth, the money that you acquire for sense gratification, or if you use the money for the pleasure of Krishna and things related to Krishna consciousness. Those are the two areas that one needs to use to gauge, because to that degree, you will either have anxiety or no anxiety. Thus, the acquisition of wealth by a devotee is not a source of anxiety or source of anxieties, as is the case for a worldly man. And because a pure devotee accepts everything in the sense of serving the Lord, the poisonous teeth of accumulation of wealth are extracted If a snake has its poison removed and bites a man, there is no fatal effect. Similarly, wealth accumulated in the cause of the Lord has no poisonous teeth, and the effect is not fatal. Pure devotee is never entangled in material worldly affairs, even though he may remain in the world like an ordinary man. Wealth, Lakshmi, belongs to Narayan. We know that episode when they told Prabhupada, oh, this yogi is very famous. When they bring money to him, his hands automatically go behind. So detached. It's becoming famous. Prabhupada said, bring a camera. And I'll pose like this, like our two hands outstretched. I want money. And then somebody will come and give me money. And with both hands, I'll grab the money. Why? Because Lakshmi belongs to Narayan. Pure devotee knows, I'll grab all the wealth and offer it to Krishna. In fact, we should become the most wealthiest in the world. Why? Because we want to take wealth from everyone and offer it to Krishna. Prabhupada told Dhananjay Prabhu that wealth is every, just have to be expert to grab it. So we want to be as wealthy, as inconceivably wealthy as possible. Because then we're taking all the wealth, Lakshmi, as much as Lakshmi, we can grab and we offer it in the service of Krishna. And we do that, then as Prabhupada is saying, there is no poison there. Normally there is this theory that you have to be a pauper. It is as difficult, I think, is that related to the wealth? It is as difficult for an elephant to go through the eye of a needle as it for a proud man to go through the kingdom of God. It's pride. But many people, they talk about wealth being sin. Right? Yes, money is the root of all evil. So because they say money is the root of all evil, then the concept is I need to be a pauper. Money and devotion, money and devotee, money and Krishna consciousness go ill together. That is wrong. In one conversation, Prabhupada said, how can you preach without wealth? Prabhupada told another devotee, another businessman came to see Prabhupada. Prabhupada told the businessman, I'm the most wealthiest person on the planet. And if you analyze Prabhupada's wealth, is inconceivable. Right now, he's got about 600, maybe 1,000 different centers across the globe. He's got people that, who are volunteering their service more than 8 hours and even contributing to him. He's the most wealthiest. So wealth is not the problem. It's how you're using the wealth. Are you exploiting the wealth for your sense gratification, or you're using it in Krishna's service? If you use it in Krishna's service, if you use it for propagating Krishna consciousness, you use it to expand and give Krishna consciousness to others, use it to build temples, use it to serve the deities, and that is the proper use of wealth. 7. Devena te hata diyo bhavata prasangat sarva shubho pasha manad vimukendriyaye kurvanti kama sukhalesha lavaya dina loba vibhuta mana so kushalani shashvat. Oh my Lord, persons who are bereft of all auspicious performance of chanting and hearing about your transcendental activities are certainly unfortunate, and are also bereft of good sense. They are engaged in inauspicious activities, enjoying sense gratification for a little while. Please understand who's speaking. The first, most pious, most intelligent, four-headed Brahma. More intelligent, more pious than all of us. So he is more realized than we are. And if we take advice of those who are more experienced, more wise, more realized, we save a lot. We save ourselves from a lot of anxieties. Why do you think so many people have coaches? Because the coach, he shortens your journey of trial and error, of difficulties, of challenges, of wasting time and money. Similarly, Lord Brahma, he's now realized. So we simply have to heed his instruction and embrace. And here he's making a wonderful point. Persons who are bereft of all auspicious performance of chanting and hearing about your transcendental activities are certainly unfortunate. That means those who are actually doing this are certainly very fortunate. Purport. The next question is why people are against such auspicious activities as chanting and hearing the glories of the pastimes of the Lord, which can bring total freedom from the cares and anxieties of material existence. Total freedom. Not partial, not a little, not fictitious. Total freedom. From what? All our anxieties. So, very often, we endeavor in this material world on activities to try to reduce our anxiety at the cost of hearing and chanting. Whereas we should be more attentive to consistently, regularly, and increasing hearing and chanting. Because that is the real solution. And when we become attached, when we develop a taste for hearing and chanting, then that is the greatest benediction. That is the greatest wealth. That is the greatest fortune. The only answer to this question is that they are unfortunate because of the supernatural control due to their offensive activities performed simply for the sake of sense gratification. As soon as people engage in sense gratification, it dilutes the desire to hear and chant about Krishna. They lose taste. The Lord's pure devotees, however, take compassion upon such unfortunate persons and in a missionary spirit try to persuade them into the line of devotional service. Only by the grace of pure devotees can such unfortunate men be elevated to the position of transcendental service. See how Prabhupada was very expert? He created the Sunday love feast for you to come to and eat nice prasadam. But you first come and you hear. So people they're forced to come and hear. There was one devotee, he's late now. In Wildersdorf, he was coming. And in Wildersdorf, we had a farm. And the Sunday program would start around like 3 o'clock. And then, 1.5 hours it will like last. And then kirtan and prasad. like how normally we have. So he would always, without fail, come around 4:30 for prasad. So one day what happened was the program got delayed for some reason. So when he arrived at 4:30, the class just started. So he came at the temple, got out of his car, and he would just come like at the end of the kirtan. So he came and started and sat. He entered the temple room, and he noticed, oh, looks like there's no kirtan. Was that okay? Anyways, like, so he just said, because he had to be polite, he can't just like leave now. He's coming for his food, his meal, prasad. So he sat down and he sat for the class. And that class changed his perspective to life. So he just by hearing the knowledge, the wisdom, the philosophy, it transformed. Yes, he was getting prasad, so he was getting the devotional credits, sukriti was accumulating, and then appropriately at the right time when the knowledge came, he was able to accept. So hearing is important. Hearing, chanting, and prasad. 8. Should Tridatu bir imamuhur artyamana Shitoshnavata varaser itaretarachcha Kamagnina chutavrusha sudurbarena Sampashyato mana urukramasidate me. O great actor, my lord, all these poor creatures are constantly perplexed by hunger, thirst, severe cold, secretion, and bile, attacked by coughing winter, blasting summer, rain, and many other disturbing elements, and overwhelmed by strong sex urges and indefatigable anger. I take pity on them. I am very much aggrieved for them. Purport. A pure devotee of the Lord like Brahma and persons in his disciplic succession are always unhappy to see the perplexities of the conditioned souls who are suffering the onslaughts of threefold miseries which pertain to the body and mind, to the disturbance of the material nature, and to many other such material disadvantages. Not knowing adequate measures for relieving such difficulties, suffering persons sometimes pose themselves as leaders of the people, and unfortunately followers are put into further disadvantages under such so-called leadership. Perfect description of the material world. Every country, every situation, every scenario. This is like a blind man leading another blind man to fall into a ditch. Therefore, unless the devotees of the Lord take pity on them and teach them the right path, their lives are hopeless failures. The devotees of the Lord who voluntarily take the responsibility of raising the foolish materialist sense enjoyers are as confidential to the Lord as Lord Brahma. So here is the serious and important responsibility we have. We have at our disposal, we have in our repertoire knowledge that is the most important for the world. And we need to take advantage of this knowledge, take advantage of the process, and at the same time, we need to try to help as many people as possible in whatever way we can to give people this knowledge, especially to those who are innocent, especially to those who are ready, especially to those who want to or searching for this knowledge. There are those who are not ready, There are those who will be blasphemous. There are those who think they know better. That's fine. You can let them touch the book and go. Give them prasad and go. But for the rest, somehow or other, we need to make this knowledge accessible, available, digestible, and help them see, help them realize their position and ultimately their relationship with Krishna. 9. Yavat pritaktvam idam atmana indriyartha maya balam bhagavato jana isha pashyet tavanna samshritir aso pratishankrit shankrameta vyatarpiduka nivaham bahati kriyartha. Oh my Lord, the material miseries are without factual existence for the soul. Yet as long as the conditioned soul sees the body as meant for sense enjoyment, he cannot get out of the entanglement of material miseries when influenced by your external energy. The whole trouble of the living entity in material existence is that he has an independent conception of life. Prabhupada's statement is powerful. The whole trouble, every scenario that puts you in difficulty, in problems, in challenges, in anxiety, the whole trouble, the biggest issue, the problem is of the living entity in material existence is that he has an independent conception of life. His life, his living, his thinking, his doing everything is completely isolated from the reality. He's in his own matrix. And as long as you're in your own matrix, there is no solution. We need to go into Krishna's matrix, into Krishna's grove, into Krishna's life, into Krishna's heart. Prabhupada continues, he is always dependent on the rules of the Supreme Lord in both the conditioned and liberated states. But by the influence of the external energy, the conditioned souls think himself independent of the supremacy of the Supreme, of the personality of Godhead. His constitutional position is to dovetail himself with the desires of the Supreme Will. But as long as he does not do so, he is sure to drag on in the shackles of material bondage. We need to dovetail ourselves with the desire of the Supreme Will. Our desire needs to be Krishna's desire, or rather, Krishna's desire needs to be our desires. Krishna's will needs to be our will. Krishna's likes and dislikes needs to be our likes and dislikes. Krishna's happiness needs to be our happiness. We need to dovetail. We need to really come to this understanding that I am a servant of Krishna. I need to live for Krishna. I need to do things for Krishna as a servant does. Then one will be peaceful. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 255, Prajahati yada kaman sarvan parto manogatan. He has to give up all sorts of plans manufactured by mental concoction. We have to give up sense gratification and we have to give up the plans for sense gratification. The living entity has to dovetail himself with the Supreme Will. That will help him get out of the entanglement of material existence. Many souls are not ready for this. And if they're not ready, no problem. Material nature will beat them. Material nature will punish them. Material nature will give you a hard time until you realize I really need a solution. I need to get out. And when that happens, we have to be ready to be there to give them Prabhupada's books. Or Prabhupada's books already need to be in his house. Because when that realization strikes, I really need some help, and he looks at the looks at one of Prabhupada's books, he takes that book, it's going to then free him. 10. Anya prakrit anya pritartha karanashi nishayana nana manoratha diyashana bhagna nidra deva hatartha rachanashrayo pideva yusmat prasanga vimukha iha samsharanti. Such non-devotees engage their senses in very troublesome and extensive work, and they suffer insomnia at night because their intelligence constantly breaks their sleep with various mental speculations. They are frustrated in all their various plans by supernatural powers. Even great sages, if they are against your transcendental topics, must rotate in this material world. Report. As described in the previous verses, people who have no taste for devotional service of the Lord are occupied in material engagement. Most of them engage during the daytime in hard physical labor. Their senses are engaged very extensively in troublesome duties in the gigantic plants of heavy industrial enterprises. The owners of such factories are engaged in finding a market for their industrial products, and the laborers are engaged in extensive production involving huge mechanical arrangements. Factory is another name for hell. At night, hellishly engaged persons take advantage of wine and women to satisfy the tired senses. But they are not even able to have sound sleep because their various mental speculative plans constantly interrupt their sleep. Because they suffer from insomnia, sometimes they feel sleepy in the morning for lack of sufficient rest. By the arrangement of supernatural power, even the greatest scientists and thinkers of the world suffer frustration for their various plans and thus rot in this material world birth after birth. A great scientist may make discoveries in atomic energy for a quick destruction of the world and may be awarded the best prize in recognition of his service or disservice. But he also has to undergo the reaction of his work by rotating in the cycle of repeated birth and death under the superhuman laws of material nature. All these people are against the principle of devotional service, are destined to rotate in this material world without end. We may have gone through the cycle, we're just getting another revelation of the fact of what is happening to these people. This is really what's happening. They may not tell you, good morning, good morning. It's really good. It's really good. You didn't even sleep properly because of this. This is the situation. This verse particularly mentions that even sages who are versed to the principles of devotional service to the Lord are also condemned to undergo such terms of material existence. Not only in this age, but formerly also, there are many sages who try to invent their own system of religion without reference to devotional service to the Supreme Lord. But there cannot be any religious principles without devotional service to the Lord. The Supreme Lord is the leader of the entire range of living entities, and no one can be equal to or greater than him. Even the Lord's impersonal feature and all-pervading localized feature cannot be on the equal level with the Supreme Person of the Godhead. Therefore, there cannot be any religion or system of genuine philosophy for advancement of the living entities without the principle of devotional service. Note, there cannot be any religion or system. You can say, no, we don't practice a religion. We're practicing a science, we're practicing a system, we're practicing a process, we're practicing, spirituality. You can name it whatever you want to name it, whether it's religion or system or whatever. If it does not involve the principles of devotional service, you are rotating. The impersonalists would take much trouble in penance and austerities for self-liberation, may approach the impersonal Brahmajyoti, but ultimately, because of not being situated in devotional service, they glide down again to the material world to undergo another term of material existence. This is confirmed as follows. Yenera vindaksha vimuktamani nastavya sadbhava vishuddha budaya rahunya krichena param padam tata patanyado nadrita yusmad angrahya. Persons who are falsely under the impression of being liberated without devotional service to the Lord may reach the goal of Brahmajyoti, but because of the impure consciousness and for want of shelter in Vaikuntha Lokas, such so-called liberated persons again fall down into material existence. Therefore, no one can manufacture any system of religion without the principles of devotional service. When we say there is only one way, there is only one way. Krishna consciousness is the only way. What does it mean? We're really saying devotional service is the only way. Now, can any person affiliated to any religious system engage in devotional service? Yes. So it's the principle of devotional service that we need to emphasize. As we find in the 6th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, the initiator of religious principles is the Lord himself. In Bhagavad Gita also we find that the Lord condemns all forms of religion other than that which entails a process of surrendering unto the Supreme. Any system which leads one to devotional service of the Lord and nothing else is actual religion or philosophy. In the 6th canto we find the following statement of Yamaraj, the controller of all unfaithful living entities. Dharmatu shakshat bhagavat pranitamna vai vidu vishayo napi vehanya siddha mukhya asuro manushya kuto nu vidya tarachara charana dayas swayambur narada swayambhu kumara kapilo Manu Pralado, Janaka, Bhishma, Balir, Vaiyasakir, Vayam Dwadasaiti, Vijanimo, Dharmo Bhagavatam, Batu, Oyam Vishudam Dur, Bodayam, Gnatva Mritam Asnute. The principle of religion are initiated by the Supreme Person of Godhead and no one else, including the sages and demigods, can manufacture any such principles. Since even great sages and demigods are unauthorized to inaugurate such principles of religion, what to speak of others, the so-called mystics, demons, human beings, Vidyadharas, Charanas, living in the low planets. 12 personalities, Brahma, Narada, Lord Shiva, Kumar, Kapila, Manu, Pralad, Maharaj, Janak Maharaj, Bhishma, Bali, Sukadeva Goswami, and Yamaraj are agents of the Lord authorized to speak and propagate the principles of religion. The principles of religion are not open to any ordinary living entity. They are just to bring the human being into the platform of morality. Non-violence, etc., are necessary for misguided persons because unless one is moral and non-violent, one cannot understand the principles of religion. To understand what is actual religion is very difficult, even if one is situated in the principles of morality and non-violence. It is very confidential because as soon as one is conversant with the real principles of religion, he is at once liberated to the eternal life of bliss and knowledge. Therefore, one who is not situated in the principles of devotional service to the Lord should not pose himself as a religious leader of the innocent public. The Ishopanishad emphatically forbids this nonsense in the following mantra: Andam tama pravishyanti sambhutim upasatetya bhuya ivate tamo yat sambhut Satyam Prata, Ishopanishad 12. A person in ignorance of the principles of religion, who therefore does nothing in the matter of religion, is far better than a person who misguides others in the name of religion without reference to effectual religious principles or devotional service. Such so-called leaders of religion are sure to be condemned by Brahma and great authorities. So, very clear. Devotional service, and especially pure devotional service, is the only way. And nectar devotion that Prabhupada gave us is basically the law book of pure devotional service. Everything you need to know about pure devotional service is in there. So really, doesn't matter where you're coming from. If you're not propagating pure devotional service, you're on the wrong track. You're basically on a track to hell and on the track of repeated birth and death. And I was making very clear, if you're posing yourself as a religious person and you're not propagating pure devotional service, and you go lower than hell, that is the danger. So we're very fortunate that we have pure devotional service by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. He has given us everything we need to know about pure devotional service from so many angles, emphasizing, solidifying, clarifying, directing. We are on the safe path. We are on the right path. We simply have to become more convinced, more dedicated, more realized. And by us embracing this more and more, we can then help others in turn. And in this way, one soul at a time, we can spread the mercy that Srila Prabhupada came to give and try to help as many souls as possible return to their loving relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna. Pantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Go Pranandi Hari Hari Bol. Are there any questions or comments anyone has? Very amazing revelations of the reality by Lord Brahma. If you had to take the verses of Lord Brahma and just view it as somebody who is able to see the future and present that, they will say spot on. 100%. Shaman says, thanks Prabhu for Maharaji for nice class, helping us all. Lord Brahma has given nice description of material situation, showing compassion on us all. Srila Prabhupada also using wonderful descriptive words in purport, shekels, embarrass, crows, rot, insomnia. Yes, this is the reality. Prabhupada did not sugarcoat. He didn't hold his punches. He's giving the truth. And sometimes the truth may be a little painful, but it's the truth. And if we want to escape the matrix, if we want to escape our anxiety, if we want to be free, if we want peace, if we want liberation, if we want love, if we want what the soul is seeking for, then we have to accept the truth. And once you accept the truth and you love the truth, oh, then when you love to be purified and you love the truth, life is blissful. Hemavati and Radhika Nalinikanta says, thank you for the wonderful class. Thank you, Mother Madhuri, for the beautiful art. Srila Prabhupada's purport gives light to all the verses. So many nice points for us to contemplate. Lord Brahma's words are beautiful. Thank you for helping us become more Krishna conscious. Yes. Lord Brahma's words, his prayers, his revelation, his direction, his instructions, his perception. It's all perfect. And we can contemplate. If we focus and contemplate on Brahma's instructions, we cannot go wrong. We will keep ourselves on track. It's a good section to keep coming back. Anytime you're having difficulty, read these verses. Kick you back on track. Anytime you want to know, what should I do? Is this right or wrong? Read these verses again. It'll kick you back on track. It'll put you back on track. And in this way, if you keep yourself on track to hear and chant, engage in pure devotional service, then it's only a question of time until one day we will also have beautiful revelation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead by the mercy of Krishna, by the mercy of Shiva. Thank you all very much. We will end here and continue next week. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Nitai Gopuramanande Hari Hari.